Hey guys, this is Travis Leglider, Extension Wheat Scientist at the University of Kentucky. And today we're looking at trial 20-27 at the UK Rec in Princeton, Kentucky. And this is evaluating several pre followed by post with residual programs in the Roundup Ready to Extend soybean system. So these are Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. As we check out the untreated plots here, I will tell you that these soybeans were planted on June 8th. The pre-emerge applications were made on the same day. This trial was treated as a conventional tillage trial, although it is truly a no-till. So a non-residual herbicide was put down right before planting to clear off any weeds that were there. And then the pre's went on the day of planting. And again, that was on June 8th. The post-emergence applications you will see on this trial were put on July 7th. Today is July 28th, so we are exactly 21 days after application, or 3 weeks after application. Right here in front of us, we're looking at the untreated check, plus a border strip, so you're getting 20 feet of untreated check here. You can see lots of Johnson grass in there. You can see there's some hophorn beam copperleaf as well. You can also see throughout there's some smooth pigweed in there as well. You can see some giant ragweed back in there. We have some grasses, annual grasses. There's goosegrass, there's foxtails, there's giant foxtail. There's also crabgrass throughout this, and you can also see there's some velvet leaf. I think I got them all covered there. A good diverse population. There's even some barnyard grass mixed in here as well. A very good diverse population, both grasses, perennial and annual grasses, and broadleaves throughout this one. A good high pressure field to really test some of these products. So that is your untreated check. We'll walk through here and go down to the first treatment and work our way back on this. While we're walking here, I will show you this field and where it's located. You can see I've got soybeans on that side. I've got one corner of corn right there, and then everything else surrounding me is soybean. So this was a field, this was a trial that was extremely difficult to get sprayed because I could only spray when the wind was blowing right at that. And actually now there's double crop beans planted in those wheat strips, and so now at this point in time I cannot apply dicamba because on every side of me there is a soybean field. So we were able to apply this the one day that the wind did blow back towards that corn, and that was the one day winds were blowing 5 miles an hour towards it. We were actually able to apply that day, and so it can be done, but it was not easy, and was easier for us than a commercial applicator who has lots of acres to cover, whereas we were able just to squeeze it in one day. So let's go ahead and move on past that and start looking at some treatments here. Again, all of these treatments are going to have some type of residual herbicide up front with a post application that also includes a residual. Most times we're using these types of programs to run after or go after palmer and water hemp, but it's also a good idea against just our general weed populations as well. So even though there's not water hemp or palmer on this field, there is some smooth pigweed, so that's a little bit of an indicator of how this would work against those two weeds as well. But also just looking generally at all of our weed species, like you saw, this is a diverse population. Here we have prefix pre, that's going to have fomesafen or Flexstar, as well as S-metolachlor, so two actives there, or two effective sites of action. Came back with tavium. Tavium's going to be dicamba with the vapor grip, as well as S-metolachlor, so that's your residual that's going down post. Also in there was Roundup Power Max and the other additives that we needed in there to be on label. Okay, so multiple sites of action going on this field, both at the pre and the post, and you can see this is a fairly clean field. Everything's pretty much canopied over. If we dig down in there, we're pretty hard pressed to find any weeds in there. Really clean plot, a lot of product going on this plot. Even though that we don't have palmer or water hemp on this field, would be a good program against those with those multiple sites of action and a layover residual. And you'll see that with almost all of these here. Here we have Broadax XC pre, that's going to have sulfentrazone and S-metolachlor, so a group 14 and a group 15, again, two effective sites of action, especially against water hemp and palmer, but two sites of action either way. Then coming back with tavium again, that's again going to be dicamba and S-metolachlor. The S-metolachlor is giving you that layover residual, that group 15 over the top. and then the Roundup Power Max in there as well to help clean up any grasses that are out there that have escaped. And again, with the Class Act and the on target as is required by the label. And again, a very clean plot. You can dig around down through here, and you're going to be pretty hard pressed to find any escaped weeds in there. With that layer of a residual, we really protect against late season emerging weeds in these systems. So another really clean plot. Continuing down, here we have Boundary. Okay, so Boundary is going to give you S-metolachlor and metribuzin. So a group 15 and a group 5, 2 effective sites of action, 2 sites of action, 2 sites of action that are effective against water hemp and palmer. Again, and then with this one, there's actually no growth regulator or no dicamba on here. We have prefix, which we saw earlier as a pre-emerge. That prefix is going to have fomesafen and S-metolachlor. So the fomesafen is going to help take out any pigweeds that are still susceptible. Now, if you have PPO resistant water hemp or PPO resistant palmer, it's not going to work. But if you're still sensitive, that's an option there with the fomesafen in there. And then you also get the S-metolachlor, which is giving you another layer of residual. And you actually do get a little residual of that fomesafen as well. And then Roundup Power Max again is in there simply to help clean up any grasses. Again, another plot that is really quite clean throughout here. You can see there's still a few crinkles on some of these leaves, and that's just part of that prefix application. I think if you've applied prefix before, you're used to this. The fomesafen causes some burn, but throwing in some S-metolachlor really gives you some good crinkle on those leaves. But it's recovered. We're at canopy now on these soybeans. So another system. This is a system where if you were in a situation that you couldn't spray dicamba, that you could use to be effective. The one fallacy here is going to be if you have PPO resistant weeds, those would not have been controlled with that post application. PPO resistant and glyphosate resistant weeds, which many of our farmers in Kentucky are dealing with that with water hemp. Okay, looking at some other systems here with pre's followed by post with residuals. Here we have Trivence. Trivence is going to have flumioxazin or Valor. It's going to have metribuzin, and it's going to have chlorimuron or Classic. Okay, that was pre. So 3 sites of action in there. 2 of them are effective against palmer and water hemp. And then coming back post to here, we have the Extendamax with Vapor Grip. So that's your dicamba product, putting in the Roundup Power Max, and Everpre X. Everpre X is going to be S-metolachlor, so group 15. So that's your layover residual there. Okay, so here you can see that Johnson grass there is a running check, just to let you know why that's there. And as you look in here again, you're pretty hard pressed to find many escapes throughout here. Maybe a 1 Morning Glory, but not a lot. A system that works really well, comparable to all the other products that we showed you previously, coming in with multiple sites of action early with that Trivence, and then coming back post with a layer of a residual with that Everpre X, using the Extendamax and Roundup as our post application or post products to control grasses, and any the Extendamax is controlling those weeds that are glyphosate resistant, those broadleaves that are glyphosate resistant. Okay, looking at some more options here. Here we have Surveil. Surveil is going to be flumioxazin or Valor and chloranthulam, which is going to be first rate. Okay, so with that, if you're dealing with palmer or water hemp, you're really only getting 1 effective site of action. But for all your other weed species with that group 2 in there, you are getting 2 sites of action in that pre. And then coming back again, similar to the last one with Extendamax, Power Max, and Everpre X. Okay, so another pre followed by post with a residual. That Everpre X is S-metolachlor, coming back with that residual in your post application. And once again, this is going to be a really clean plot with both a pre up front and a pre coming back post emergence. Anytime we do that, we're going to clean up our field really well and keep our field nice and clean throughout the season. So there you have Surveil, Extendamax, Roundup Power Max, and Everpre X. Okay, moving on, just a little different iteration of that. Here we have Sonic, and with Sonic you're getting sulfentrazone or Authority or Spartan, along with your first rate So a product that would be similar to this or the same would be Authority First. And so again, similar to the Surveil, if you're dealing with water hemp or palmer, you're only getting one effective site of action out of that group 14, but against all other weeds, you have 2 sites of action there. And then coming back post with the XtendiMax, Roundup Power Max, EverPre-X as your layover residual. And again, that EverPre-X is a S-metolachlor product, okay, a group 15 product. We'll dive in here once again, but you won't be surprised to know that we really are struggling, or will struggle, to find weeds in this one, as these programs are all designed to give us really good control and really specifically designed around palmer and water hemp in mind, and so they work very well against all of our other weeds as well. They pick up a lot of those other weeds. All right, continuing down here, we have Authority Edge. Authority Edge is going to be sulfentrazone and pyroxasulfone. So this is a product that's coming to the market, and it's offering you a little bit of a different mixture than what Authority Supreme does, and a mixture that's reducing the amount of pyroxasulfone that goes down pre and allows you to put more on post. So you can see here, so before we move on with that pre, you're looking at a 2 effective sites of action going down against palmer and water hemp, or 2 sites of action period. And then post-emergence, you come back with XtendiMax with Vapor Grip, Roundup Power Max, and AnthemMax. And AnthemMax is offering you pyroxasulfone or Residual plus Cadet. So against palmer and water hemp, that Cadet's not doing a whole lot for us. It'll clean up a lot of other weeds. But as far as a layover residual, the AnthemMax is really offering us that pyroxasulfone or Residual element. And again, with the Authority Edge, the idea there is that we're reducing our upfront pyroxasulfone, allowing us to put on a higher rate of that AnthemMax at the post application. So really maximizing that in-season pyroxasulfone application. So again, you can see here, really quite a clean plot. You can see those leaves are still kind of crinkled. You saw some necrosis down in there, and that's what we expect when we put that AnthemMax on. Is you are going to get some initial really good burning and blazing of that, but the soybeans recover, and a really good effective program here with that Authority Edge up front and coming back with the AnthemMax. Here we have Authority MTZ. That's offering you sulfentrazone as well as metribuzin. So again, a group 14 and a group 5, so you're getting 2 sites of action there in your pre, and 2 sites of action that are effective against palmer and water hemp, and then coming back post with that XtendiMax, Roundup Power Max, and AnthemMax. Like we saw in the last one, again, that's Cadet and Residual in the AnthemMax. So the Residual and the AnthemMax, or the pyroxasulfone in the AnthemMax, is what's giving you your residual in season. And then that's also a residual or a group that's different than what we put on in our pre. So we're really mixing it up here, 14 and a 5 early and a 15 late. So that really helps us out quite a bit. And you can see here, again, we're hard pressed to find much for weeds in this one with all the residuals we're putting down on this field. Again, you saw some of those beans still a little crinkled, still a little bit of necrosis on the lower leaves, but they have recovered quite well. We are only 21 days or 3 weeks after application, so it's only that first week where these beans look pretty ugly from that post application, but they do recover quite quickly. Moving forward, okay, I'm moving a little bit into a different company portfolio here. Residual Pro. Residual Pro is going to give you pyroxasulfone. It's going to give you saflufenicil or Sharpen, and it's going to give you imazethapyr or Pursuit. Okay, so getting 3 sites of action there. Only 2 of them are really going to be effective against water hemp and palmer in that Residual Pro, but we've seen this work pretty well. And then coming in post with Ingenia, so that would be BASF's version of the dicamba that can go over the top of these beans, plus Power Max again, and Residual. So you're getting that pyroxasulfone on early in the pre, as well as coming back and putting on another layer in that post application. So again, lots of pyroxasulfone or group 15 going on this plot. That's our primary residual within this one. But even at that, we're getting really quite good control here, okay? Like all of our other plots, this one's kind of boring to show simply because all these plots are very clean. Not a lot of escapes, but that's good. It's good to show you guys you have lots and lots of options out there for controlling your weeds with these really robust and complete programs. Okay, and then a final treatment here Valor XLT, that's going to give you flumioxazin and classic or chlorimiron. So really with this one, if you're talking palmer and water hemp, you're only getting one effective site of action out of that flumioxazin, but that chlorimiron's helping out with all the other weeds. And on a field like this, without palmer and water hemp, you really have two effective sites of action. Coming back with Extendamax, PowerMax, again, your dicamba and Roundup, or dicamba and glyphosate. And then here we're using Warrant as our layover residual, and that Warrant is giving you is a group 15 there. So that's we've been looking at pyroxasulfone and S-metolachlor, but a look at a different group 15 layover, and one that works quite well as well. With this one, again, we're pretty hard pressed to find weeds in there. You might find one or two morning glories, but they're pretty rare throughout here. And again, a really clean plot overall, especially as we get back here to those untreated. You can see all of these treatments work really quite well. So this is trial 20-27 at UK Rec in Princeton, Kentucky.